Okay, it is 12:03, so let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. Could we have roll call, please?
Kathy McCoy,
Present.
Lorraine Gouget, Mark Helwig, Grant Gerber, Andy Alvarado, Mike Wohler, Tweed Schuman,
Here.
Doug Motek, represented by Joe, Bruce Paquette, Katie Bellinger, Ryan Reed, John Yackel,
Present.
Elaine Smith, Marshall Savitsky,
Here.
Julia Lyons.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Next thing, let's go ahead and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Which flag are we using?
Either one.
This is the little one in the corner. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And do we have certification of compliance with the open meeting law?
This meeting has been noticed to the public and news media as required by section 19.84 of the Wisconsin statutes.
Thank you. And everybody has a copy of the agenda. Are there any changes, reordering, additions to the agenda? We'll move on then to public comments. Is there anybody online or in the audience that would like to make a comment on anything? Okay. None. Okay. Minutes of the last meeting. I assume everybody's had a chance to look at them. Entertain a motion to approve.
This is Julia, so move to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, second. Any changes, additions, anything else? Not all in favor of the motion? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, we'll move on to the jail report update.
Thank you. Attached is the May 23 jail report. Average daily population for the month of May was at 67.25, 12.75 females to 54.5 males. Average probation incarceration was 14.75. Average pre-sentence incarceration was 40.25, with the average sentence incarceration of 12.25. We did add monthly bookings total. So as of May 23rd, when this was ran, we had 78 bookings for the month. We currently had 2 on electronic monitoring. We had 15 females at the time being housed in Barron County. Total population in the day report was at 68, with a current inmate unemployment rate of 77%.
Does anyone have any questions on the report?
I do. What is Mike, you probably don't know this, but what is the impact on the county budget to house all these people out of county for this long?
With staffing levels down, I'm assuming, I think the sheriff had made mention one time that with the staffing levels the way they were and housing out of county was, I don't want to say a wash, but it's near that. Would that be correct? Yeah.
One thing I could ask is, do you think we could, when we do the report for May, could we do a comparison for May of 2022 to May of 2023? So we could see if we're making progress or not in terms of how number of people in jail?
Yeah, I don't see why that should be an issue. So to the far right of the 23, you just like the 2022 column down?
Yeah, it'd be
Sure.
nice to see what the trend is, if we could have a comparison year to date for,
Okay.
Thank you. What is the capacity of the jail? I don't even remember, I'll be honest.
104.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions on the report for me, the jail report? Okay, thank you very much. Moving on, incarceration unemployment update. Lynn's shaking her head. We don't have anything or
Right, I remember that being an item that they wanted to include in the future meeting, but did not receive anything from anyone.
so, I mean, as far as the unemployment rate obviously is very high. What type of programs or what are we doing to kind of address that? Is there anything going on in terms of that in the jail at this point? We're all getting used to a new system.
So Andy actually just met with someone from Northwoods Tech on a new program for something to bring in for construction. Mike and I just met with Deb Helquist and Aura Lee Carroll last week on our HSCD program and GED programming. And we're working on getting more inmates, in that area. And then we also work with transitional programming. So we work with Northwest SEP and the Northwest Workforce Investment Board. They just lost a grant to Workforce Resource, which will take over on July 1st. So we're waiting for Workforce Resource to contact us and let us know what that's going to look like. But we still work with Pathways to Home on inmates who are eligible for transitional programming in that area. Sometimes they're eligible depending on what their release date is and where they're releasing. They have to stay in the northern region, like in Sawyer, Douglas, Ashland, Bayfield counties. If they're releasing somewhere other than that, they will not be eligible for services. But we are trying to expand programming for when they release as far as employment eligibility. But they have to be willing and they have to be in a good place. So we work with them like on their substance abuse issues, their mental health issues. We have to get them to a place where they're eligible to work. So if they're not in a place where they're able to hold down employment, it's not going to do them any good. Does that help?
Yeah, that helps a lot. Thank you. And I'm sure a big part of it is through transportation and, housing and all those issues that go along with it too.
Right.
And Kathy and Becky, I think one of the things the sheriff was talking about was the unemployment rate leading up to incarceration. That he thought a lot of people that were being jailed or incarcerated were unemployed, the majority. So I think if we look at it from that end, if we could get more people employed, I think there'd be less incidents with the sheriff's office and maybe possibly less than our incarceration rate. So I think we got to
There's
look at
probably
that
something
area
to be
too,
said
because
for that.
I know out at La Coudray, we cannot fill positions at our casino or other properties. We're just dying for workers.
I think
So I
everybody's
don't know where these
looking for
people are or what
workers.
they're doing, but we can't. We got many open positions.
I think that's everywhere in the county, to be honest. Every employer is looking for employees, right? But the employees have to be in a position that's, back to Becky's point, to want to work, to be able to show up, work on a regular basis, to come to work and be clean, sober. I mean, those are all conditions, The trouble is people hire people. I hear this all the time. They show up for 2 days and then that's it. They disappear. And I'm sure you guys are having the same problem, right?
So working with people to get them on like a fundamental level of, what do you do? Like, how do you organize your day? How do you show up on time? How do you get out of bed and make it? Sometimes we can't even get people to make it to their court dates, much less a job on a regular basis or to their appointments to meet with us. So we have to get people in a place to where they're healthy before we can get them to go to a job every day, realistically.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for the information.
Welcome.
Does anybody else have any other comments on this topic or suggestions? Okay. Criminal Justice Coordinator, you're up again.
Okay, so for the month of June, as I said last month, we were able to stop putting people on overcapacity memos, which we've been waiting to do for a long time. So for pretrial, we're at, as of today, we're at 100 cases. We're on, we have 30 people who are on court reminders only. We have 10 people who are currently on diversion. We have 8 diversion referrals pending. We have 21 diversion cases completed. 2 of those have been since May 10th. We have 1 diversion case that's pending a failed hearing. We have 26 people on the wait list. 19 of those are incarcerated. So when somebody's on the wait list and incarcerated, we can't really do anything with them except wait for them to get released. So technically, we have 7 people on the wait list that we're trying to get in touch with. And then we have 7 new bond intakes pending. 5 of those are new bonds as of today. Does anybody have any questions about those numbers?
Thank you, Becky.
And then also just to follow up from one of the meetings that Mike and I had last week, we have so far in 2023, 14 completed HSCDs in the jail.
Nice, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I got a question for Kathy. You got a
Nice
second?
going for the jail too. I mean, it says,
Becky, so which bullets here that you've listed will be affected by when the second judge starts? Which you see we're going to go after first? I mean, are you going to be able to do more diversion since we take a little load off Judge Yackel, or where's this going to affect?
I guess that's not really up to me. I would think that, I guess I would think that a little bit would come off altogether, but I would think that there's going to be some training time that comes in to play there. So I don't anticipate that immediately August 1st, the court cases get divvied immediately.
yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I would like you to, Your Honor.
A clarification of the question. Tweed, I just, and I'm not, you're talking about, I mean, is Justice Point running kind of at full capacity right now? Or is there like you're waiting for more? It sounds,
As far as where we're at with our budget, we're running at full capacity. We did just submit a grant last week in conjunction with Public Health. And if we get that, we will get more positions, but not case management positions. Those will be peer specialist positions.
because I mean, I don't mean to answer the question. I mean, if I can be helpful, at least just from my perspective, if they're running at full capacity with their budget right now, the second judge starting shouldn't have an impact on that because most of the work regarding these numbers is done outside of court. So, you know, we get them in, we agree with the diversion, they go on the diversion and the work is being done. And then when they're successful, or if they're not successful, they come back to court and we deal with them. I don't anticipate much of a change. I mean, it shouldn't drop by any means. When things are getting broken up on August 1st between branch 1 and 2, the numbers that we have and the need will be there. And so branch 1, branch 2 will be putting people into these programs and services. And if you get a larger budget and there's more capacity, I don't think we've reached the top yet to where all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, there's still a need. And so if you increase a grant, I have no doubt that branch 1 and 2 will be filling those with people.
So, Your Honor, we'll be moving more efficiently, so people will be going through the court system, right? Sooner than they would sitting. So maybe it affects more of the sheriff's report being pretrial cases that are incarcerated. Would that play a role here at all? Meaning that branch 1 and branch 2 would see more people quicker, per se, than sitting in jail waiting for trial.
Can I go ahead?
Or waiting
Judge?
for sentencing
That-
or
that
waiting
would-
for diversion referrals.
That's my anticipation. I mean, it's not going to be immediate because we've got a backlog.
Sure.
But the idea is that once we've got this backlog taken care of, branch two's up to speed, fully staffed and ready to go. And I would anticipate that by the beginning of next year, we're going to start seeing some significant strides as far as that goes. But yes, that point, that's still the aspect of it, is that right now there is absolutely no time. If you want to get in front of the court right now, we're setting things out into August, September, October. I'm setting everything on my calendar with the idea and doubling up with the idea that half of the cases are now going to then be in branch two. And if they stay in branch one, they're on the calendar on August 1st, beginning on August 1st. Everything that's on my calendar that is now branch two is going to have to be rescheduled. And so there's going to be a time on that.
Sure.
But yes, once we get that through, the time for these things to get them on there, to get them in diversion should be cut.
Okay.
Yeah, and
excuse
that's
me, I
really-
think Judge Smith
Oh,
had a
sorry,
question.
sorry.
I just wanted. It's not, okay, but, just comparing it to the Healing to Wellness Court. First of all, the case managers are limited to the number of participants that they can have. So Becky just said that she's not going to get any more case managers. So if they're at maximum, they're at maximum. And then there's going to be that learning curve for the new judge to become trained to be able to conduct the drug court, because there's a lot to it. So you're not going to probably see anything immediately. It's going to take some time, I think. That's all.
Could we have an update, Judge Yackel, on the drug court, where we're at with that, or how it's going, or, yeah, I mean, I know we're,
Well, right now we're treading water we're treading water on just getting to August 1st. I've been updated because my calendar is jam-packed, so I haven't been able to participate in the functional hearings or the meetings that are afterwards as far as the structure goes. But that was part of, Justice Point knew that going into the year. It's my anticipation that we're still on track for at least beginning to introduce people into that at the beginning of next year, somewhere along those lines. My further anticipation is that once August comes, then that drug court and those meetings on Wednesday afternoons, is it every week or is it every other week as of right now?
As of right now, so our steering committee meets monthly.
Monthly.
We meet after CJCC, but we will meet more often once, our policies and procedures right now are in the works and we're getting close to having those in place. And we'll bring those to CJCC when they get completed. So we are close. I'm hoping to have them done by July's meeting. So
In August. So what's happening, and I guess if you're interested in this, I'll just briefly explain it. So the whole calendaring system is getting revamped with the addition of branch two. And so branch one is going to be on intake for 2 weeks, or duty week, we call it. Branch two will be on duty week for the subsequent 2 weeks. And branch one, when it's on duty week, branch two will be having jury trials and other things. And then when branch two is on duty week, branch one will be having jury trials. So what we've got all these block schedulings that are in place for different types of things for when you're on duty week, and drug court and those meetings are part of that. So once we get in August, we will at least have on every meeting, and if they increase their meetings, there will be a judge present either from branch one or branch two at those meetings. It's just right now we're getting swallowed up. I mean, so since they began this project and we knew we were getting a second judge, this branch, the only branch that's here, has been involved with the meetings and the creation of the drug court. Obviously, we've been dealing with the construction aspect of this, and then just taking on a whole bunch of other things while maintaining the same caseload. So nothing has opened. The dam has not opened up yet. It does not open up until August. And so we've been doing what we can. I've participated in that training down in the Dells that we went with. I'm unable to go to the Houston one. But come August, depending on how many meetings you have, there will be somebody from either one of the two judges will be, and maybe both, at those meetings.
okay, thank you
Thank you,
very
Beth.
much. So one other question I just wanted to ask quick, go ahead in the audience.
Something where, and it, like the numbers, I think they'll stay kind of where they are, but we're coming down is, Justin's point is doing their, they're doing their thing, and then they'll send like non-compliance letters. But we did that, and there's nowhere to put them on the calendar, for them to ask why aren't you doing that? I think that'll be the difference, is like, they're doing what they do, and then they get to us, and it's kind of broke. I know right now, I have 8 that are sitting there, but I have no way to, there's no time. So I think it'll alleviate that, and then in the full circle, they'll be able to give those services better. But right now, until we have the more time to get a compliance letter, how then they have to come in and address whether or not compliant. You know, it's just, we're kind of at a stuck point. Like, once they get to that point, it's kind of, you know, until we have more work time, kind of just sitting, that's not any fault, but.
Good. Thank you, Anna.
The pieces on the chessboard are being moved into position so that we can have a really good functioning system. It's just getting them takes time.
So one last question, just quick. So with our drug court, we are in compliance with what the grant money was given to us for, because we're meeting the steps that are required, correct?
We're in compliance with where we're supposed to be at. We just submitted our quarterly report, which was actually due, but they kept asking for more information. So we continued to give them more, and it looks as if the last one that we submitted, they were happy with. Fingers crossed, because now we have another one due in July, and we'll see if they're happy with. Now I know what they're looking for. So I'm hoping that when I submit my one in July, it's good.
Good information. Thank you very much, Judge, and thank you, Becky.
You're welcome.
Update us on that. Okay, moving on, then we have Health and Human Service Report, Julia.
Yeah, so right now we're really focused still on staffing. Are we good? Thank you. I don't really need that open. I'm working mainly on staffing and really starting to plan for the future. Just for an update on what staffing looks like, we're still looking for a CPS supervisor, and we will also be looking for an adult long-term care supervisor. The notice, I think Sarah's last day is the 23rd or the 29th of June. So having some transition there. I'm not sure if at the last meeting, Julie McCallum was appointed as the health officer officially. So we will also be needing to fill positions in that department as well. Youth justice, we are swamped at the moment, as everybody else is feeling that way, but we do have a position that has been filled, looking at what that transition looks like. And also there is an opportunity, grant funding opportunity that I just saw today that would be looking at diversion as well for youth. So we'll be looking at that. Hopefully I can bring more information back at the next meeting. The Narcan Direct continues to be a well-attended program. And I'm trying to think if there was anything else that's been happening that's new. I think
I
that's
know-
about it.
Yeah, you had a program for the recovery coach.
Oh, yes. So that,
looked really interesting.
the recovery coach position has been posted. We're looking at where that would be housed at potentially, because we're kind of doing this with the Prevention Coalition, with Beziki. We'll look to see with that. We're hoping that we can grow the recovery program, countywide. Oh, and the other thing that we're talking, just getting started to doing for HHS is looking at strategic planning as the agency in general, but also where we want to, what are the needs of the county? Obviously knowing a few things with workforce, employment, housing, and where we all fit into that picture. And then the final thing is really looking at the behavioral health program and how can we expand behavioral health services throughout the county to make sure those needs are met. So that's what we're working on right now.
Great. Is there any chance the little brochure and stuff for this that could be sent to the committee members?
Yes, yep, we'll get that sent out.
Because I know like Judge Smith would be interested and, that'd be great.
Perfect.
It would look like a wonderful program and you got a grant to do this.
Yeah,
Nice
we're taking advantage of grants that we can get. So one of the things with that is hopefully we'll be able to use opioid funding that we received for the $5,000 that we would have to commit to that piece. So we'll be bringing a budget forward for that as well.
Does anybody else have any questions about the Health and Human Service report? Okay, thank you, Julia. We'll move on to homeless task update. I think Mark was working with that. I don't know, Katie, have you been involved in that at all or? Okay.
And so there's really not a lot that I was told that you can't, I mean, they will.
We're all learning.
So, I think Stephanie Knowles, who attended, I got.
Take 3. Okay. So Stephanie Nault received an email asking if she would sit down and talk. I'm not exactly sure who. She did not forward me the whole email. Oh, okay. And so I don't know if she contacted you or not, but she had told me that the fiscal year for the department right now is at the end and there's not much that we can discuss until the start of that.
Okay. I think, Mike, you're on the task force.
Yes.
You want to come up and so that I hate to make you do that, but
Oh, that's one of the reasons I came.
thank you.
Is to make sure that I communicated the information that I had. So I've been leading the task force that has had people from many disciplines in and sharing their expertise. It's been fantastic to get their input. And the task force gave some really good information. We spent about a month or two discussing the best strategy. And it seemed like in order to make things really happen, we needed to form a nonprofit agency in order to be a container in which we could both take funds and then have command and control and make decisions. So that nonprofit Safe Place Warming Houses has been formed. We just opened our account. I wrote 73 pages of policies in the last 2 days. So if my eyes aren't working right, you'll know why. Anyway, so things are really moving forward. And so there's 2 primary things that Safe Place Warming Houses is interested in doing. And that is to be a partner in any way we can with both law enforcement, Department of Corrections, in helping to house people that right now don't have a place to be. So we're thinking in that direction. And I believe we'll be able to do that. Then the other thing we want to do is provide warming houses. So a warming house approach would be that, let's say somebody, like last year I got a call from the sheriff's office. Somebody was camping out in the woods and I didn't have an answer for them. And so I left them hanging and I'm going, that's not going to happen again. And so now what we're determined to do is to open a place where it's a warming house. You come in for supper, you stay overnight, you pack up your stuff. You don't just throw your stuff down and it's my place. That's not how it works. And then you've got your suitcase of things there. And if you go look for a job, come talk to people in social services, do things in your checklist to advance yourself in some way, then you can stay another night as long as you don't bring drugs in and you're, not using and whatnot. So there's some accountability that we're going to build into it. And, but someone doesn't have to sleep in the post office anymore if they don't want to. So those are 2 things. I'm waiting to make contact with Stephanie. I did put out an email and, we're thinking for the long term. I would love to get at least one of these houses open before the snow flies. It would be a blessing to have both of them going. So I know there's budget cycles, but I'd love to have a discussion with the Department of Corrections and just see where things are at. And make some, get on the same page and move things forward there. So any questions or?
Thank you, Mike. Do you have a couple properties that you guys have been exploring?
We've been looking, we're working with Gary Nathan and we're looking, there's a few possibilities. And of course, starting from scratch, there's not much funding. So if you want to come by abroad at our fundraiser on Saturday, that would be fantastic.
So do you have any like pamphlets or flyers or information? Like I'm thinking I could take some to my faith-based community and a couple other places and probably get something going.
I'm desperately seeking someone to build a website and finish the marketing materials. I'm a hack when it comes to such things. And you can include that in the record if you'd like. But yeah, I've got cards coming. I'll make sure it gets over this way. And a website, pamphlets and so forth will be coming, but I'm a little slow on those things. I'm quick at some things, but not that. So
do you have a fundraising goal in mind to purchase a property and be up and running, like you said, by winter?
well, it depends on if we can lease. If we find something we can lease, it would obviously go a little quicker. And if we have to purchase something, obviously, we'd have to rehab a property probably, and then deal with security issues that would be significant in one of these places at least. So.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Mike?
Yeah, I do. So you're looking at one that's more transitional housing and then one that's a warming. Is that what I just wanted to clarify?
Yeah, so,
Okay.
So let me just clarify. So one would be a warming house approach.
Mhm.
Now, the other thing I've done is we're making contact with the women's house that's in town. And one of our guys is going over there and helping them rehab some rooms to make sure they have an increased capacity. That's been a real problem, apparently. So if we don't have to house women and children, and we just have to house men, it makes it a little less complicated, as you can imagine. So warming house would be for men then. And then the other would be a place for people who right now cannot be placed anymore. They have to stay in the county because they're on the registry. And so they can't leave and just go anywhere. And so we don't have anything to do with them. And so you can imagine there's challenges with that,
Right.
but we'll meet them.
Okay, and that answered one of my other questions. And then the other thing, I know Joyce has been working with you guys on some of this. We do have access to a volunteer network that could potentially help with marketing materials, maybe not building a website, but helping with marketing materials. So talk with Joyce on the board and she can connect for that.
I'll do that in about 26 seconds.
I think she might be on vacation, but she will probably
Okay.
respond.
All right. Thank you.
And I just need to collect your last name, please.
Thompson, THOMPSO.
Thank you.
Thompson.
Yeah, I have a question, Kathy. Mike, these warming houses you're talking of, the tribe has considered that as well. How are you going to make sure that these people are not using, that they come in and stay overnight?
Well, that's where we're making sure that we kind of minimize our risk and have a good safety plan with both the sheriff's office, who's on the task force and is represented there, as well as the local police. We will have testing. And so we'll have breathalyzers.
Testing? Is that what you said?
Yes. Yes, we will do testing. And if you want to stay another night, you're going to be tested. And so we just won't allow it to be a drug den.
No,
But
I
if you want to
understand.
get off a drugs or whatever, you have a chance. You don't have to sleep in the snow or in the post office, and we'll send you to Ashland or the hospital to, if you want to take some steps forward. So.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Mike? Thank you very much for giving us the update. We really appreciate it. And
Thank you. And thank you for all your work.
I
really
think
appreciate it.
everybody is in total support of your program. And I think we just need to get the word out there and hopefully the community will step
Thank
up.
you. Oh, and one more thing real quick is that our workshop for the House of Hope is up and running now. I have a workshop supervisor. We're trying to build an online website to sell products. The reason I'm sharing this is that in the past, we've been open to bringing people in who are maybe at risk and need to learn trade skills. They could participate in the day if they need to sharpen their skills. And then we've got a list of trade skills that we do teach for each person to graduate. And so that would make them increase their employability. And so that's something that I would really be interested in doing, is including a more open approach to allowing people who maybe aren't in the program to come and learn the skills.
So that's interesting. So would that be something that could be tied in with our Huber program in the jail? If there was candidates that were interested in going over to the House of Hope for to the shop for the day to learn additional skills, could that be incorporated somehow into?
I guess I wouldn't see why that would be an issue, so.
Yeah.
Our Huber is, I guess, not on hold, but we're lacking a position there, so hopefully in the near future, that'll be up and running a little more smoothly here, so.
Yeah, and we're doing automotive, plumbing, electric, woodworking, and a number of things so that you can give a prospective employer kind of a certified list of things that you can do. So that might be real useful to some people who, you know.
So that might work out then, that even though they wouldn't be employed and earning any money, they could still be released with Huber privileges to just go spend so many hours over there to acquire additional skills.
I guess I'm not sure how that would work exactly, because there are fees associated with Huber when inmates do go out. So if they're going out and there's no, I guess, fees coming back in with them, I guess, I don't know. I'd have to do some more research on how that would work exactly.
And we'll have to think that through from our end, like maybe we can get to a place where we employ people, you know, if our, you know, marketing and products start to, you know, sell more regularly.
So are the Huber fees a percentage of what the person earns then, or is it a
No.
fixed rate?
It's a flat rate.
And how much is it?
I believe it's $120 a week.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else, any questions or? Sounds like you're doing a great job. Thank you. We'll move on, community service updates. Grant's not with us today. So I guess we're gonna kind of skip that unless somebody else has anything. I know the House of Hope is doing well. I mean, in terms of the number of people, I think they're full again. I'm not sure what's going on with the women's program necessarily.
Yeah, and we're not really connected with them. We're a
Right.
different 501. Yeah, so the men's house, we have several openings. We're about to take 2 or 3 new people in, and we're interviewing them both today and over the next couple of days. And so we should be taking them in pretty soon. Also, we just helped another House of Hope get established in Price County. And so that's kind of exciting for us. But yeah, we'll be full again pretty soon.
Great, thank you. Does anybody else have any other updates on any community service?
Yeah, I just learned yesterday that the tribe has 11 openings between our men's and women's shelter. So we can pass that on.
And that can be for any member or any residents of
Yep.
your county, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on, future agenda items. Does anybody want to see anything in particular on July or going forward? I think we have, who's going to come in July? Becky, you had requested. Okay, and I think Lynn already has that information, right, Lynn? Smith, yes.
We could give an update on, there are several of us that are going to that RISE 23 at the end of June. So we could give an update, short update on that conference.
We could add that. That would be great. Andy, do you have anything that you would like to see or think? See, Julia, we'll just leave your report as a standard report on there. Okay.
Yeah, and we can probably have some additional, we've been getting additional funding through grants, so there hasn't been a lot coming forward, but we should at least have a budget set so that we can spend out. I know there'd be a marketing plan for prevention, and that's been a big push to work on prevention. So we can bring that for July.
Okay, do you want us to put that as a separate agenda item then?
Yep, I think
Opening-
that should be
okay.
a separate agenda item.
Opening update, okay.
And I'd like to see more discussion on how opening the second branch is going to affect the county and our budget. Because we have hundreds of taxpayers that are, bearing down on the county board, and for us making this decision to spend all this money, how is it, and increasing their taxes, how does it affect us in the long run?
I don't think.
So
there's-
Andy and I have discussed that, and we're gonna, if it doesn't come up in this committee, we're gonna bring it up in other committees.
I don't.
But
think
it's something we need an answer to.
I don't think it really belongs in this committee, to be perfectly honest with you, because we are not a policy setting committee. I mean, in terms of, what is borrowed, what is built, that kind of information. We could have a discussion, or you could bring us information on it, but we really would not be in a position to take any action or anything on that. So and that's, I guess, my opinion. I don't know what anybody else thinks about it. Andy, do you have an opinion, or?
I mean, we'll be tracking the information and kind of monitoring things, so it'll be available if you want us to discuss it here. I mean, actually, the things that this committee is discussing outside of the bricks and the mortar and the expensive stuff, the other things that we're working on in here affect the cost of our criminal justice system, the bottom line. I mean, a lot of it is Justice Point and what's happening with the diversion, jail incarceration numbers are down. Why is that happening? That's all going to affect the amount of court cases and how much it costs us to operate. So it's not all what's in the building, it's in some of these other things we've had to invest into just as part of addressing the situation. We're talking about all the pieces anyway.
Okay, so do you guys want that as an update in July, or would you like to wait till we get a little more things in place and closer to the budget process?
I guess the budget process starts in July, right?
Okay.
It started
Yep.
already, so.
Okay, so then let's put that on for July, Lynn, that's fine.
And I don't know if it'll be next month or we have to wait till August, but at some point we should invite the new judge in and do a little meet and greet.
Do you want to contact the new judge, Lynn, and ask if she would like to come July or August, which would be more convenient for her?
And yes, but how would I get contact information?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And how did you want this item titled?
Reed, how would you like the item titled?
How about update on the second branch and court efficiency? Add whatever more you want.
I just have a short question. I was wondering, I know that at the tribal level, we are short of mental health people, counselors, and I'm wondering if the county is in that same position, and maybe we could get an update next time. And
Yep, we can update on where we're planning on going with that.
all right, thank you.
And Mike, would you be willing to be on the agenda kind of as a standing committee report? Okay, so let's leave that on because I think that's a really good thing. And I think Katie, you're tied into that too. So we'll leave that on. And community service update, we'll leave that on. Okay, anything else anybody would like to see? Okay, correspondence, reports and conferences and meetings. Does anybody have anything to share on that? We will next month, right? Okay. All right, I guess we should set the date for next month's meeting.
You a while ago, you set it for the second Wednesday of
Wednesday,
each month.
yeah. So I just want to make sure everybody's still okay. That's the 12th. July 12th at noon.
Correct.
Okay, right. Anybody else, anything for the good of the body? Okay, thank you, everybody, for attending. So we had a quorum. We're adjourned.